Hi guys, there's a serious development involving the Nigerian football team. Apparently, they suffered terrible treatment at the hands of airport officials in Libya. Reportedly, they were held at the Al Abak airport in Libya for over 20 hours. That's against their will. The team was supposed to face Libya by 8 p.m. today, being Tuesday. By now, I'm supposed to be making fun of their performance. Usually, that's what I would do, but unfortunately, it seems that match is not going to happen because the team has already gone back home. Now, what's even more interesting about this story is that emerging evidence is showing that the treatment of Nigerian team by the Libyan Football Federation, that's the LFF, may have actually been intentional. And the LFF has responded that they received the same type of treatment from Nigeria when they arrived to play their own match in Nigeria over a week ago. The LFF said, despite the difficulties we encountered, we did not make public accusations nor question the integrity of the Nigerian authorities. So it seems like this was a do me, I do you situation, but this time man was very, very vexed at the outcome. So let's get to the full story. So the Nigerian Football Federation, the NFF, has revealed a detailed report on what happened to the Nigerian team on their flight from hell to Libya. And the report was so bad that even T-Pain has called for thorough investigation and appropriate action against those who willfully violated the organization's statutes and regulations. I've never heard him talk like that. I can't believe he said that. I really can't believe he said that. So according to the reports, the chartered flight took off from Kano at 3:18 in the afternoon to Benghazi, Libya, expecting to arrive a few minutes before 8 p.m. Libya time. On the flight, there were 22 team players and other officials, including the NFF president, the deputy governor of Edo State for some reason. That's the outgoing one. A couple of NFF board members. Okay. NFF General Secretary, well, that makes sense. A couple of parliamentarians. What are those ones doing there? A couple of NFF management, a couple of media representatives, and a couple of stakeholders. Personally, I'm starting to get more invested in who the flight passengers were than the actual story, because it just looks like a waste of funds. But just as they were about to land in Benghazi in Libya, where they were supposed to land initially, the pilot was instructed by the control tower that he could not land despite having all the required landing papers. They were instead instructed to proceed to the Al Abrak International Airport. The pilot complained that he was short on fuel, but his words fell on deaf ears as he was told that the directive was from higher authorities. Is it me, or is this sounding more sinister? Like, it's starting to sound like they were even wishing for a plane crash. God forbid. The least you could have done is allow them to at least land first. Now, on landing at the Al Abrak International Airport at 7:50 in the evening, there were no scanning machines or the usual equipment, and officials scanned their passport data pages with mobile phones. The NFF said it took over 1 hour for the team's luggage to roll through the carousel. Look, I sympathize with the Nigerian team and everything, but if you're a regular flyer into Nigeria or even local flyer in Nigeria, like, this part, you've probably experienced it at some level. Like, 1 hour is even small. Like, sometimes I've arrived at airports and there's no lights for the carousel to even work, so you just wait. They said no official of the Libyan Football Federation was at the airport to receive the delegation, and airport officials could not answer the simple question on where the buses that would take the delegation members back to Benghazi were. When delegation members, including the NFF president, tried to leave the airport to check if there were vehicles waiting for the team, they were stopped in the most uncouth of manners by airport security personnel. What can I say except revenge is a dish best served cold? But honestly, stopping them from leaving the airport, personally, I feel maybe it was done for their own safety. I mean, it's one thing to divert their flights, and not allow them to land, but upon landing, having them being abducted or something on their way to the hotel would have been another issue entirely. Calls to the General Secretary of LFF yielded no fruit, as he kept promising that the buses would arrive in 10 minutes, which later became 2 hours, and afterwards 3 hours. Later in the evening, it was no longer possible to reach him on the phone. I can relate to parts of this story so much. The fact that it's such a big story is just so funny to me. I guess it's because it didn't happen in Nigeria. Frustrated by this attitude, the NFF secretary approached the security operatives to request that the team be allowed to go out and board the buses the NFF eventually hired. This request was rejected with insults. It took the intervention of the NFF dignitaries to prevent what would have escalated into a row, as the NFF president himself was not spared when he heard exchange of voices between the security personnel and his general secretary. This aggravated the tension and further frustrated the team. I guess all this big English meant that the NFF officials and the Libyan security personnel at the airport almost had like a fist fight. It could have devolved into something worse. There was no food or water provided by the LFF or where to even procure these items, as there was no network or internet connection at the airport. Well, at least I know this part is a lie. Like, how was the Nigerian captain able to send out all those tweets then? How was Victor Boniface able to send out all those memes like in real time? This part even contradicts what they said earlier. How were you able to make all those calls? At past midnight, it was learned that there had been word from higher authorities that the Nigeria delegation should be delayed for a minimum of 10 hours at the airport for what they falsely claimed was done to their team in Nigeria. Damn, why 10 hours? And they even exceeded expectations. They are supposed to hold them for 10 hours. They held them for almost 20. So Nigerian captain Trust Ekong, his feedback on X was also very interesting and enlightening. He was giving us so many immaculate pictures of team players sleeping at the airport, you know, because they were stranded, basically. He understood the assignments. That's what I'm trying to say. Trustekong was also giving multiple updates. In one tweet, he said they were planning to hold the Nigerian team hostage. In another tweet, he said the driver of a team bus had magically arrived and was standing inside the airport, filming them and laughing with some of the other staff. That's messed up. At 2 a.m., Captain William Ekong met the NFF president in the company of the NFF General Secretary to inform the president that the team may not be able to go ahead with the match due to trauma, fatigue, and body aches that resulted from lack of food, dehydration, and very cruel and unimaginable treatment, which had led to some players falling sick. Eventually, it was agreed by all parties that the team should not go ahead with the match but return to Nigeria to await the decision of CAF, that's the Confederation of African Football. The Nigerian delegation then departed the Al Abrak airport at exactly 3:05 bound for Nigeria. Like I said earlier, the Libyan Football Federation, that's the LFF, they've addressed these concerns by Nigerian team, and they said that it was not intentional, and they said this through a series of tweets. They said that their own national team faced similar treatment when they went to Nigeria and they did not complain. I mean, you did it to me, I did it to you, so why are you complaining? But the NFF said that they were shocked because when it happened in Nigeria, it was the fault of the Libyans. They said that the Libyan team informed the NFF they would land in the wrong airport only 2 hours to their arrival in Nigeria, but the LFF did not want to pay the additional fee dispatched by the charter company. They opted to travel by road, refused to use the buses hired by the NFF, and instead hired their own and disrespected advice not to travel at night. Well, these are my thoughts on the situation. Jokes aside, the treatment was very bad. It was very disrespectful. It wasn't fair to the Nigerian team. I'd expected the LFF to take the L in this situation, you know, and say they are sorry, they made mistakes. But instead, they are kind of doubling down on the situation and saying, I mean, it happens sometimes. Oh, your team was stranded for over 20 hours in our airport. It happens. These things happen. This is Africa. I feel like African unity has taken a very big hit this year, but somehow the common denominator under all these things is always Nigeria. I know when this case is presented to CAF that they are going to be very tempted to give Nigeria the 3 points. You know, here's my advice. Don't do that. I think they should postpone the match and allow them play. Because now I'm invested in this match. This is what competition is about. Now there are stakes involved. You know that these teams legitimately hate each other. You know how in wrestling, like personal beef translates into the match and the match becomes so much sweeter. I think they should do the same thing in this match. Maybe if you want to punish Libya, you can give them a fine or make the match in a neutral ground like Ethiopia. Speaking of Nigerian sports, I'm doing a deep dive into the Nigerian's performance at the Paris Olympics this year. That video is coming out very soon, so I enjoy you to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you'll be aware when that video comes out. It's going to be a very interesting one. There are some things in that story that are going to shock you, so make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Obi King. Let me know your thoughts on the situation in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.